Welcome to another episode of the Lilac City Leadership Podcast. We're your hosts, Doyle Wheeler and
James Krejci.
And not sure why we did that backwards, but I'm actually James Krejci, and he's
Doyle Wheeler.
And we're your hosts of the Lilac City Leadership Podcast. We have an amazing episode again coming your way today. We're with Josiah and Alissa Roloff of Roloff Digital Forensics, a company here in Spokane. I'm going to let them actually describe what they do because it's fascinating and I don't want anything to be missed. So guys, great to have you on the show, and we're super excited to get a conversation started and hear more about you guys.
Well, thanks for having us. We're excited for this as well today.
Yeah, to be here.
Here in our office.
So tell us, we're right now we're on, is it 3rd and Lincoln?
So we're
First
on
and Lincoln?
Second.
Second
and Lincoln.
Yes.
An incredible old building here. I think the name of it is the Lincoln?
It's a Freeman Center.
The Freeman Center.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Strike 2
That's okay.
on my part. But
How many
tell
strikes
us,
do you get, James?
man, hopefully it's not baseball because I'm very close. But yeah, tell us a little bit about Roloff Digital Forensics and what you guys do. I think that it's fascinating from what I've heard.
Sure. So digital forensics is a really broad term to really kind of potentially describe a lot of things. But essentially, digital forensics is, and how we perform the service, is the analysis of some sort of digital evidence. So it could be memory that comes from a cell phone or a computer hard drive. But more and more in this day and age, it's content that comes from third-party service providers. So think of like Apple and Google and Facebook, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. So it's taking those data sets, typically trying to preserve those data sets in a way that's defensible in case litigation takes place and your conclusions or your evidence is challenged, and then analyzing it. And then typically there's a presentation phase as well, and that presentation phase could be a written report, or it could be a declaration or some sort of testimony and or consultation in some sort of litigated setting.
Wow.
That's incredible. And tell us who's hiring your company then, primarily?
So everyone.
Yeah.
That's the short answer at this point. I mean, our biggest clients, we work with the Department of Defense. About 50% of our business is with the Department of Defense at this point in time. And so within the Department of Defense, it's a lot of the different armed forces that hire us.
Oh, yeah.
And so they hire us typically in some sort of criminal or pending criminal litigation. And we do that work for both the prosecution side as well as the defense side. So they'll kind of flip our role depending on the case and who requests us first, essentially.
Sure.
Outside of the Department of Defense, we do just a lot of work for private law firms. Also large companies, small companies, private investigators, human resource professionals, individuals even will hire us to look into something that is related to an issue that they are going through.
Sure.
Wow.
So tell us a little bit about how you guys kind of got your start and the story between then and now.
Yeah, so I've been working in digital forensics since 2003, and in 2017 we had an opportunity, kind of the short story being I started as an intern, was hired full-time, later was made a partner, and then in 2017 we had an opportunity to buy out my previous partner. And so we took that opportunity and then moved forward with a rebranding of the company under Roloff Digital Forensics. We went to work on our culture and the staff and the location. So we were not in this location back when we made the purchase. We were renting space down on Main Street, which is where I think I first met you, James.
That's right, a little coffee shop down there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of things happened. In a short period of time for that 2017 transition to take place. That's the short story of how we're here today. I was able to somehow convince my wife to leave her current career at that time and join me in this endeavor because I felt like, and she agreed, I believe still agrees hopefully, that that was the best in the best interest of our family and the business was working on this together.
Yeah, so how did that go, Alissa? I mean, you were working elsewhere, and what was the day like when you decided, hey, I'm going to jump full steam into this? And
Yeah, he convinced me I got to run the show. I got to run the business.
No pressure.
I don't.
And
no.
my life. Right?
And his life, yeah. No, it was an interesting day when that all happened, and when we didn't go into conversations thinking that we were going to purchase the business. We actually went in thinking that we were going to separate from the business. That day specifically, I went into my job, forgot my cell phone of all days, forgot my cell phone. And we had been in conversations and talks throughout the day as to whether we were going to purchase the business, walk away, what we were going to do. And ultimately, we decided that it was in the best interest of our family. And our oldest was starting to go into school. I needed some more flexibility, and the current situation was not going to be something that I'd be able to do that in. And so we thought, what a great opportunity to go into business together and to kind of revamp again the culture, the community, and put together something that we were excited about and thought we could grow. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at today.
And I should probably back up here because people are really wondering about that day and why that day is like highlighted here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was highlighted because there was essentially kind of a contentious relationship with my former business partner. And that happened to be a day that we were going to mediation for mitigation purposes potentially, but
Yeah.
to try and determine what to do with the relationship. And so we had a lot of entanglements, business being one, but property, real estate. And so it was essentially like, okay, are we gonna stay together or are we gonna divorce?
Yeah.
And ultimately we decided to divorce, but under terms that were more amicable than probably we thought it would go.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
great.
Alissa, here we are in mediation. I'm texting Alissa, and I'm not getting any responses.
No.
Like, what do you think about this?
Oh,
and that?
Because my phone was at
And
home.
her phone's at home. So,
So then you're hacking into her phone to see
Yeah.
where this thing is.
she never left the house, and she's not responding.
That's funny. That's awesome.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about why you chose. There was this break in the company, and why you chose to continue in Spokane. I mean, you have clearly an array of clients that's worldwide, and why did you choose to stick around in Spokane?
Man, so many answers to that question. So we have a second home in Portland. We have an office in Portland, and we do a lot of work in Portland as far as the private sector goes.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, at this point in time, I'd say that's the number one, Oregon being the number one state, Portland being the number one city where we do the most private work. So
Wow.
why don't we go and live in Portland? We have a home there. We love the area. There's a lot of reasons why we chose to stay here, and I'll let Alissa maybe take it over from there, and I'll jump in as needed.
Yeah, cost of living here is amazing, so we all know that. It's not as great as it once was 3-4 years ago, but in addition to that, we both grew up here,
Yeah.
both personally and physically, but also professionally. And so my career has always been in Spokane. Just a little bit of a stint over in Portland for a bit there, but otherwise we love this community. We love everything that Spokane's doing. The downtown is so vibrant, and they're rebuilding all of those things downtown. I don't know if you guys have been down there lately, but it's just beautiful and gorgeous. And
Oh, it's stunning.
yeah, they're doing a great
exactly.
job. We just went for a run a couple of days ago down there, and they had the food trucks out, and we didn't realize they were even doing that on Tuesdays now. So it's just the culture that we have in Spokane, the community we have here, the contacts that we have made specifically, both through friendships and just the way that we want to interact with other nonprofits, things like that. I can't see doing that in a bigger city. Even though Spokane's growing, it's still a little town, and I know
Yeah.
you guys are aware of that. And so, yeah, we don't want to give that up, and our families are here, so
Yeah.
there's also that.
It's kind of like the biggest small town in America.
Yeah, it feels that way. It really
Yeah.
does. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're so close to everything.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
I think Visit Spokane is going to snip this as a commercial, an advertisement. That was a pretty good selling point for Spokane. But I agree with you. It's kind of like sometimes I'll be walking around, and those of us who know the old Spokane, you kind of stop for a second and go, man, this is quite a bit different city than it used to be.
Yeah, and the blend of architecture. I think that's what's cool. Like new things pop up, but it's on top of old bricks.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even like the way they preserved the Riverfront Park. They blended the old architecture in with new buildings and things like that. And I would value that new business coming to Spokane would fit in the same way. I think
Yeah.
we deal with that all the time. You probably feel it too. Like Spokane is just digitally or in the tech scene a little behind. When you go to Seattle or Portland, you can see the effects of it being forwarded, but it's because of people like you taking the lead and the initiative to just bring the technology here and go for it, and then it feeds right into the old architecture, so to speak. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much as Spokane has, I mean, it has adopted things that we liked about bigger cities. The food scene, you know, the entertainment, the arts, the revitalization of cool old downtown buildings from Park. I mean, so many things that we liked about Portland that were really our draw started coming here too, right? And like everything you just said, Doyle, I mean, it's really neat, and people who want to live, I think, better qualities of life recognize so much of the positive here. And, you know, as far as our clients go, for what we do, they don't really care where we are. They all still think we're in Seattle, Washington State.
Yeah, all of Washington is one city.
You're from the Pac Northwest.
Right, that's right.
For those of you on the East Coast that might tune in, we're in the Pac Northwest.
Somehow, so this show is about leadership, and somehow we always talk about food, and our stomachs are always rumbling when we're on the show.
Pretty much.
But on the note of leadership, I think you guys are clearly an industry leader in your space, and there's a lot that people don't know about this industry. So talk about how you've kind of led the charge to bring awareness to some of the lesser known things.
You want me to talk about this?
Yes.
Oh, this is all you. The lesser known things. So, I mean, really how we've, I think, identified the things that we need to do to set ourselves apart is really understanding the technology and the providers of technology and what they're creating about each of us and about each of our devices' interactions with their servers, with their technology. So examples of that is when we work with data that comes from Apple or Google, the data we can get back from them today is going to be different than the data we get back from them tomorrow, because their technology continues to advance, the things that they're tracking continue to advance. And so that understanding, that willingness to never stop learning, never stop asking questions, and never stop kind of evolving our process of what we request from them in ways that we get to learn when they realize there is something responsive that they maybe hadn't turned over before. And we get that, and we realize, okay, now we have to add that to our template, that information's there, here's what it looks like, here's how it can be used. So we work with lots of clients at the very beginning stages of litigation where they give us a scenario of what's happened, and they talk about the devices, and then we go through a kind of list of questions. You know, so if we know it's an iPhone, we know it's talking likely to Apple servers. So how do we go to each of those sources? What could be there that'd be responsive and relevant? And I think that is a huge piece of what we do that's so forward thinking and different maybe than most of our competitors, at least the ones where I work on cases against them and I see what their process has been. And making sure our clients understand all those avenues that they can go down to find information that's relevant to their case. It's a challenge. It's always changing.
I imagine it would be. Yeah, just being able to distill down to the client's understanding kind of what the capabilities are. Yeah, I find it really interesting. There's a couple kind of leadership points in there that I've been thinking about recently. One of them is not assuming that something is the way it is, and I think there's a place for assumptions, definitely. It allows us to do things faster, etc. But I think with the way you described how information is changing so much, that you can't afford to assume that the data coming from Apple is going to look like this, or if it looks like this, that it means this. You're constantly evolving, so that's kind of an interesting leadership topic in and of itself.
Yeah, and the one I was picking up is, I've been saying it at our office for the last few weeks, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And it's like everything around us changes, but if we don't, it's not even an adaptation. It's a change. You got to change with it, change for it, go forward, try and get in front of it. I think you nailed it on the head. Like, getting in front of it is probably the biggest challenge that anyone will face, but it's fun. It's
Can be.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and it needs to be fun if you want to be in this industry and be very good at it. Because if it's not fun, you're not going to stay up on it.
Yeah.
But it is required, and it is fascinating.
Yeah. Hey, I want to, so there's the digital privacy piece of this. Is there anything that you can tell consumers that might listen to this podcast, all of this, that we should be aware of? Anything. This is an open forum.
Yeah.
Anything.
I probably have a few things that they should be aware of, but you know, I think the thing that we hear people say out loud quite often is, you know, don't do something on your device that you aren't okay with everyone knowing about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's becoming more and more true with our digital devices, and for many reasons. I mean, a lot of times, it's the person who is the weakest link is the person that, you know, if I send you an email, James, I may not be compromised, but you may be compromised. Your device may be seized, or, you know, someone gets access to it. And so knowing who you're communicating with and understanding just that whatever you put on your device and then what you delete from your device is unlikely to truly be deleted everywhere. It's been synchronized to different clouds. It's been, you know, synchronized to different service providers, to different devices potentially. And even if it's deleted, there's still ways to potentially retrieve it from that kind of unallocated space as well. So just know that what we're doing, what we're saying, you know, what we're writing, even more today than ever before, is something we have to be okay with other people observing or having the potential that they will.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I think on top of that is where we go. So we write a lot of things, we say a lot of things, but where we go also tells a pretty big story about who we are as individuals, what we're interested in, what our religion might be, you know, all those different topics of interest or hobbies, etc. Where we work, where's our house, where's our favorite coffee shop. All of that location information is being tracked now at such a heightened level that understanding not just what we say and what we, you know, write, but also where we go, all of that could be well known very easily. So,
one thing popped up. I'd say all the criminals out there that are listening to our show, continue to do things on your device so that you can be caught. So that is probably helpful. Alissa, what are some of the things from kind of an operations perspective, marketing perspective, have you been able to do to help the industry and your company?
So many different things, and actually things that I had never done in my previous career lifetime. So we've been able to really revamp all of our operations, make them more succinct, create a culture that was conducive to ourselves but also to our business. We wanted a family first culture. We wanted to have people who bought into that, and also just agreed with our values. And so that's, I think, the biggest overall thing that we've been able to do. Something we've been working on lately is telling our story of why we do what we do, not just what we do, because almost anyone can tell what they do. You guys have probably read the book or heard of the book, Start With Why. It's a great book. If not,
we just started reading it.
We just started it.
It's fantastic, and it's changed a lot of what we do and operationally specifically. But really just telling our story of why we do what we do in addition to what we do. So, you know, I mean, there's a logical piece to that as well. But in addition to that, we've really been able to engage with community partners, nonprofits, and support them in a way that we had the say in who we were doing it to. Overall, the company had the say. Whereas in larger corporations, it's a little more difficult to get your nonprofit that you're specifically supporting, the funds or the volunteerism or anything like that, that you have more say to do that with a small business. And also locally, you know, we're here in Spokane.
Mm-hmm.
We want to support the Spokane community. We're planning on staying here. We're not leaving, and so we want to engage as much as we can with people and groups that we feel are supporting Spokane.
Nice.
So what's the elevator pitch version of your why then?
Oh goodness!
Put
I
you on
don't think
the
I've
spot,
narrowed
but,
it down that well.
That's okay.
It takes time.
Or the longer version. It might
Yeah,
be kind of
like
cool to
what's
hear.
your 2-hour elevator pitch?
oh,
The elevator in your building.
Put me on the
might-
spot. I know that's really fun. All right, so it's going to be cut and jagged the way that I say it.
We
but,
love it. Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect. You can cut it and redo it however you like for this.
make it flow.
Make it flow.
Make it flow.
Providing people with a service that is unique and shows our impact in this industry, and providing them with the tools and resources they need to provide their clients, because they're our clients, they have their own clients that we're supporting,
Mhm.
with the best resources, trial, engagement that is possible from a digital forensics standpoint.
Boom.
That's
I don't know.
that's
well,
rich.
actually that
All
was
right.
a
Been
very
thinking
good
I should do a
job.
TED Talk.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
That'd be a 2-minute TED Talk.
That would be, yeah. It's about like 5 seconds, but.
That was good. I like it.
Yeah. As a side note, Doyle and I started kind of a book club segment of this podcast. We're going to be reading leadership books and then having a little commentary and then even mixing it in with guests and things that just to kind of bring another element to the show. So
Yeah, so
it's
we
gonna
might be
fun.
back.
All right.
Start with Why is our first selection. So
Yeah.
yeah, very fun.
And it was kind of like, which one do we pick? So we scrolled the top 10 on Amazon,
Yeah.
and there it was. We had to start with why would we
Why
do
not?
this?
Exactly.
It's gonna be good. It's exciting. Totally exciting.
So you guys are a pretty incredible couple. You're you're together as a couple. You've got kids. You're managing a business. There are just a lot of different elements of your life. I guess how do you manage that and bring a different flavor of leadership into each of those sections of your life?
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And leave work at work if you can. You know, obviously we're not perfect, and so we take it home plenty of times, but we do
Yeah.
a much better job than what we used to do, even not or not working together. You know, of really stopping and trying to take time to focus on the kids, the family, things that are going on at home, their lives, what happened at school, and
Yeah.
leave this alone. There's going to be more time to work on this tomorrow, or when people are asleep, things like that. So that to me has been a huge piece that I think COVID really helped with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're at home, right? No one was going to the office, and now you're at home all the time, trying to do your work, trying to do your family time, and so it really became like we had to separate it and be like, okay, now we're done, and we're going to move and transition into this for the rest of the day or for a period of time.
Yeah. I think turning it off is the worst. You're probably as excited about what you do every day. To like it. It's what you work. If you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life.
Right.
Anyway, that's probably my biggest downfall. Then we work. My wife and I work together in our company, and it's hard. Probably harder for me. She would beg me to turn it off all the time, but I'm so excited all the time. There's always something to be thinking about. There's get ahead of it, and I'd like to talk about it. But turning it off has probably been the richest thing for us. So that's very good information from the trenches.
Yeah.
So they say.
Still a process.
It's a
It is.
process.
Yeah.
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 I think there's probably, there's other company owners that are together leading a company with their spouse who are listening to the show. And if folks are having challenges with that and difficulty overcoming that, what are some pointers to kind of get them started in the right direction?
I think if there's concerns business-wise, I think as long as you're on the same page and the same level partnership-wise for the business, it's going to be easier to talk through those sorts of things. Sometimes you do have to cut it off, but other times there's urgent things that need to be talked about right after work. And so we've done a really good job, I think, of being partners and having different skill sets and being able to bring those together, understanding the other person's standpoint, where they're coming from, and kind of work together on solutions. I think that would have been the biggest struggle is, one, the finances are always a struggle, right? Either at home or at work, and you need to be able to work through those struggles in order to just determine if there's a bigger solution into whatever is concerning one or the other. I think we've done a pretty good job of just being partners and bringing our different skill sets together, both at home and at work, and being able to talk through things when necessary or hold off and just bring it up the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think that as long as you guys can talk through it and truly be partners, it's a big difference.
Yeah. I think even going back to the book, Start With Why, it's like dialing it back to why are we running this business. And a lot of times with families with children, a lot of times the why honestly is to provide a great life for my family. And so if that is the case, then folks who are having trouble maybe dialing it back to are we doing this to support the family that we have and to have an enjoyable life with them? Keeps it in an important perspective of, at times I do need to turn work off and really enjoy what I'm actually trying to work towards.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
Jinx.
Yes. The standoff.
Yeah. When we started our business, ours totally varies from your story for the fact that my wife was voluntold to help out, and like she just fell into the role, and I can't give her enough credit for stepping up and going for it. And when you were talking about turning it off, like coming together on issues but being able to turn it off, I think that's her number one skill, and it's definitely shaped how the business goes just because of being able to work together in that way. So it's truly, anyone listening to this conversation happening right now, what was shared by the Roloffs is something you need to take to heart and work with it, because it does help a lot. It's good advice.
And Alissa was spot on the divide and conquer piece, and I think it works in business and personal, which is, if you don't enjoy doing something and your partner does, let them take it, let them run it, let them own it. And that has saved us, I think, so much time on the business side and been efficient. And on the personal side is that we kind of have our roles, and if someone isn't a good fit for the role, we work through it and we adjust it, and then we know, and both typically are pretty on top of our roles, and we take care of them. But that definitely saves us a lot of time and gives us a lot of more efficiency, both at work and at home.
So we run our home like a business.
Pretty much.
For little kids.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. A good
Very
introduction for
structured.
them. Yeah.
It's very structured.
And cultured.
Yeah.
And
they're-
why?
Yep.
They're reading the book.
They're reading the book.
Yeah, they're all reading right now.
They're telling you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
That's
Why
good.
do we eat breakfast at this time?
Every day.
No, that's
Set a
fun.
timer started every day for breakfast.
Leadership transition is a topic that comes up a lot on this show, but this particular industry, your skill set is very unique, and I'm not downplaying the trades, but like, it's not just I'm a plumber and I started a company and I hire other plumbers and then eventually I can step back. You've acquired a very unique skill set that's not very common, and so I imagine when the company first started, you're wearing basically all the hats, and you are the expert that is out there in the field working cases, things like that. But then as you grow, how have you managed to step back and just kind of like play that leadership role while trusting the folks that you've hired?
We are still learning how to do that well. But yeah, it's been a process. I get a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment out of actually doing the work, and I don't know if I'm ever going to want to stop doing the work. But I can't do the work extremely well if I'm also trying to run the business, manage other people who do what I do, make sure they're taking care of their clients the way that I would hope that they would, and the list goes on and on. So yeah, we've had to figure that out. I mean, at one point, things got handed off to Alissa, where she was able to really take on a lot of roles that I was trying to fulfill in addition to everything else, and then she was able to hand off certain things to employees that report to her directly, freeing her up for things that really only she can do or that she does best. So I'm still learning how to do that from the case side of managing cases, but we are learning and we're growing, and allowing people to do what you hired them to do and to do the things that they do really well. Not micromanaging, for example, really giving them the freedom. I think that's been a huge thing for me to continue to understand, is the more I don't know about what's going on in the company, sometimes the better it is. The more we're doing, the more we're out there, the more cases that we are touching and having an impact on. It's actually pretty wild. I'll go and walk through the office at times and hear conversations, or we'll have a meeting and they'll be talking about cases and names, and I'm like, I've heard that name. I'm like, oh no, I only heard it in the news. I have no idea that we were even working on that case. Things like that.
That's awesome.
And that's been a really cool evolution, I think, of everything from, not just needing to be the person out there who's doing all of this and running the business. So yeah, it's a process, and I don't think I have the personality to naturally let go of things. which
Sure.
I don't think I'm alone there. But
You're not alone.
yeah.
Oh man.
But I think to hear you say how much you enjoy the feeling of, you know, walking by and hearing something that's going on that you weren't really driving, that's important for other business owners out there. A lot about this show is, you know, helping other people who have had the same challenges. And if people can realize that you went through the experience of letting go of some of that and then realizing how enjoyable it was to see your company, you know, producing new work without kind of your direct drive and input into everything, that's going to help people realize they can step back too, you know?
Absolutely. I'll just share the one thing I'm 100% on. I totally get it. It's the hardest thing to do is to let go of what you love to do. And what I've learned is that by hiring smart people and let them take a peek under the hood at what I'm doing, they already did it better than me before I hired them. And the more I've backed away, and now I'm seeing the things that I would have done 5 years ago myself, and it's so much better. It's like, wait, did we do that? Because I was setting a standard for what I was doing and producing at that level, and that's what people paid us for. And now you get a team that's like so much farther ahead and technically driven, and then they take over those roles, and it's super special. So I would say, if it's any encouragement to anyone, the more you help people grow in their position, to not just to help my business or your business, but to help them be better at their positions and help them get to a place where they could benefit their life in a different position somewhere else. It makes it extremely next level. Everything goes up a notch or more. It's good.
That was really encouraging, Doyle.
Oh man. This isn't about me, it's about Roloff Digital.
No, it's
Very
good.
good
good.
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Perspectives.
It's neat how it all blends together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's honestly something that's unique about Spokane too. The business owners are willing to share some of those things that would be thought of as trade secrets or pointers with each other, and I think that advances the business community quite a bit around here.
And that's what this podcast is all about. Leadership from the trenches. Like your style, your evolving style and continual growth is a leadership example that can inspire other people. And you don't have to look all over the internet to find it. Everybody has a leadership story right in their back door, and it's super special. So this is really neat. This is fun.
So Alissa, something you mentioned earlier is really interesting. The word culture gets thrown around a lot. It's hard to kind of pinpoint it. How do you actually create a culture in a company?
Yeah, it's interesting starting from the ground up. There wasn't necessarily a culture before I think we purchased the business, and
There was a culture.
yeah, well, okay, so
That's why
maybe
you
not the
purchased
culture
it.
that I think is the best fit, the most positive.
How do you create a desirable culture that people are actually excited to be
Yeah,
part of?
that's a great question. Well, basically, we started from the ground up so that we could create a culture that we felt was positive and
Yeah.
that our employees felt was positive. And granted, that's a learning process. It's always evolving because there's always different things that you can do to incorporate a more positive culture. Ours specifically, the family first. Obviously, we have a family. We want to be able to have flexibility and spend time with them and have a good lifestyle that is, we work, but like James was saying earlier, we work so that we can live and have a good quality of life. And that's something that we always need to focus on and remember. And so we try to instill that in all of our employees, and I don't think you need to instill it when it's something that's kind of innate to most people. And everyone here has a family, and they all want to, spend that time, those extra hours, that extra time with the people that they love and care about and things that they want to do. So we've really just tried to establish the positivity, get done what you can during the workday, make sure that your clients are taken care of, but also go enjoy the people that you care about and the people that you, not that they don't care about our work family.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the people you want to spend time with and the things you want to do and the places you want to go in Spokane now that it's opening back up. Things like that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast.
I know, I stopped. It's a whole nother road.
That was well said, because there's there's company cultures that evolve themselves, and those can be bad places to work or good places to work. And part of a good leadership, I guess a characteristic of a good leadership group is being able to influence the company's culture without kind of mandating it. And I've been in scenarios where a culture was mandated and there was even formality in the training of this is what you need to do as part of the culture of this company. And to a certain extent, it's okay to know, but walking the walk it's much more important than talking the talk, I would say. Mm-hmm. And I imagine that people can see you guys and your interest in having a good family life, and then they just naturally say, oh, that's something that I'm able to do here as well, and creates happy employees and employees that are going to be more productive because of that. So very neat.
Yeah, it's cool. I think that I'm just starting to sense two different sides. So like in our business, I can choose my clients. In your business, your clients call you. And so to build out quality work for employees is probably my number one initiative, to make it an exciting environment to be in, right? So creating culture doesn't have to be mandated when the clients are positive and the clients have good ethics behind what they do, and the list goes on. But so how did, this is kind of a pop question, you can sideline it if you want, but how does that work internally from a leadership point of view when you're probably immersed in negativity from a courtroom situation, and people are like, they pay you because you do what you do instead of need your services. They do it because you have to have it. So I don't know if I'm making much sense here, but how does that transfer into a cultured environment of positivity when you're working on negative stuff?
No, that's a very good question. You're right. No one calls us or emails us when they think something good has happened. So we only get the kind of communication when they want to investigate something that's most people are going to consider to be negative. Well, as far as like our digital forensic examiners go, the type, I mean, they're rewarded kind of similar to, it sounds like, to you, Doyle, and the way that you want to take on good projects, quality projects, and give them to your employees to work on. We have good quality projects. We've got our run-of-the-mill type projects that we see every day, but making sure that those are spread around so people get to really work on interesting new technology or an interesting topic. And also we travel a lot, so giving them, spreading around those interesting locations. We go to all around the world. To Germany, we had an examiner get back from London a moment ago, last week. So making sure that everyone's getting that opportunity who wants it, because not everyone wants to travel to the UK in the middle of a pandemic. So there's some different ways to look at it depending on the personality you're dealing with, but sharing the wealth of the interesting cases and the interesting locations is a huge thing we do to kind of keep people upbeat, positive, feeling included, feeling like they're not missing out on things. But those are kind of two big things for us.
Sweet. Side note, for anyone listening, you gotta go check out Roloff Digital's website. And I was on there checking out everything you do, trying to learn before we got here. And you have a blog. It's really cool, like where you've been, where your business has been around the world. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a travel blog from the point of view of a forensic specialist. It's pretty sweet. I recommend. We can delete this if we have to, but if we're stepping out of line here, if you haven't updated it recently or whatever, but it is really cool to go see that, because it's you do X, but it makes you have to do all this cool stuff, mm-hmm. and you're in there. It's cool. Anyway, yeah, we'll put the link to the website wherever you're seeing or hearing this. Somehow you'll see it. We'll make sure you get it.
And Google's always your friend too.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. But be careful when you search with your phone.
Nice, good one. I think it's that time, Doyle.
For the seventh inning stretch. Jinx.
Got you again.
We did not coordinate this.
Take us away.
Yeah, okay. So we have a little seventh inning stretch just to see where our guests' favorite things are in Spokane. So I'll just hit it off. Where's your favorite Spokane entertainment?
I think we have separate answers too.
Oh,
nice.
Downriver Golf Course.
All right.
Comedy Club.
Okay. Oh yeah. Cool deal. Did you get cupcakes? Was it cupcakes you're doing during the?
Oh no, we didn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
they were
I like
handing
to
out
watch the shows
cupcakes.
though.
They were selling something.
Yeah, I think they had hot dogs at one point. They were doing shakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. It was very innovative.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Very much so.
Favorite Spokane coffee shop?
I like the daily habit driving through there, so
Nice.
pretty easy.
So during the pandemic, I really wasn't going to coffee shops anymore, and we moved. So my favorite coffee shop is no longer as close. So I'm gonna give a little shout out to First Avenue Coffee.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic place. I've only been there a few times, but the coffee has been phenomenal, and I've taken some of their roast home. So
Nice.
It was really good too.
Yeah, we actually had Deb on the podcast. So she's the episode before this one.
Oh wow.
Right.
And she's the owner of Roast House Coffee.
Yeah.
She has a very, very unique story on how she's getting fair trade in front of locals here in Spokane.
That's
It's a
awesome.
very good story. So anyway, you have to check that out.
Definitely.
But First Avenue Coffee is definitely a favorite. And the Haizu tea,
Yeah.
oh, that is- if you're not into coffee, you get the Haizu tea. It's so good. Hibiscus tea. I think it's one of Deb's concoctions.
Really?
Yeah, she made it up. Favorite Spokane restaurant?
That's an evolving list.
Yeah, there's so many great new ones we want to try that I think we're gonna really like.
But if we were to go with like where we spend the most money,
Yeah, in
there's
time.
probably only one.
Yeah, I know.
So it would be Elliot's
Okay.
on Monroe.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I've seen that. Yeah.
So we spend quite a bit of time
We do.
there. We know a lot of people who work there maybe too well.
Their brunch
But
is amazing.
Their brunch is fantastic.
Very
Wow.
child friendly.
So the seventh inning stretch is quickly becoming a top whatever from our guests. So
Okay.
that'll be showing up on social media over time. Kind of like,
Awesome.
okay,
list of-
here's the top mentioned coffee shop in Spokane from our guests, etc.
Awesome
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
That's great.
But Elliot's, yeah. So we moved and we're up north now, and drive by Elliot's every day. So and I always kind of wondered, oh, what's that place like?
Stop
so
in. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to hit that up now. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fried pickles.
Oh yes.
Really?
Have to
Yeah.
try that. Yeah.
Scotch egg.
Mhm.
Scotch eggs are the
Yeah.
best.
That's
They make
awesome.
the
Yeah.
best. Yes.
I've had theirs before and they are delish.
Good.
Yeah, they're very good.
The ribeye with the spiceology mix that they put on there. Man.
In fact,
Oh,
let's
man.
go through the
Wow.
menu.
Yeah.
I'm really hungry now.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I might have had it last night.
Yes.
After golf.
May or may not have had it.
And James even
Yeah.
warned us
several
before we
times this
started.
week.
We're gonna get hungry. It's changed everybody. It's changed the world. It's changed how we think. So, what's your favorite post pastime? Yeah, there we go. I like it. We're moving forward.
Nothing to
Exactly.
do with that anymore.
Favorite pastime.
Well, let me reframe the question then, because I'm on your side.
Uh-huh.
So, out of the last year that we've gone through, is there anything that's changed the way you pass your time,
100%.
exercise, whatever?
Yeah. So two things I think specifically for our family that we've become more accustomed to and are really enjoying is skiing, downhill skiing, and golfing. Something our whole family can do together, and he's been home more, as you know, he travels a ton, and last year and a half for some reason he has been home more. So we've been able to engage in that as a family.
Yeah, we
Cool.
went skiing like almost 30 times
Way
this
too many
last
times.
season.
Wow.
And I haven't
That's
gone
great.
skiing more than 5 times in a year, so who knows how long. So, yes. I mean,
What's been the go-to mountain?
Silver?
Silver.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do they do a combo pass with I think 49?
They do now.
Yeah.
So the group that bought silver bought 49, and so starting, I think this is the first year they have a combo pass where you can go to either mountain.
That's pretty intriguing,
We
yeah.
can't because we have the family pass, so it's still
Okay.
only good at silver. I assume they're going to give an option at some point to do both.
Yeah. No, I think that's one thing outcome for me as well as I did a lot more golfing and a lot more skiing. So and the family got into it as well, and so if there are silver linings in the last year, that was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went on long walks. I think we
On
actually.
the beach?
Oh, don't get me started.
The
No,
local beach?
no, in
Lakefront.
Colbert, Washington.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
perfect.
just around the block. We had a 4-mile loop. We break it up. We go around the neighborhood. We call it the neighborhood loop, and then the other one is the country loop. It goes out through the wheat fields and up by Green Bluff. And
Nice.
the other day, one of our kids came home while we were halfway on our walk, so we ended up pulling off a 6-miler. Yeah,
Nice.
it was exciting.
That's great.
It's really fun. It's cool. Yeah, thanks to my wife for that. I'm not a walker at all,
You are
or a
now.
runner. Now I'm a walker.
Yeah. Can't say that anymore.
Yeah, nope. It's done.
So in terms of inspiration, guys, just to kind of wrap up, what would you say is your number one area or person of inspiration in your leadership journey?
My inbox.
Nice.
I mean, I say it
Keeps you driving
jokingly.
forward, yeah.
Yeah, but no, truly, I mean, Alissa passes things on to me all the time as far as
Forward
leadership,
emails all the time.
leadership emails go. So again, for as far as
Yeah.
topics for leadership, it's my inbox. Motivation is my inbox. It's my to-do list. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
all joking aside, I think it is my inbox.
I like
I'm
it.
glad
I
you
like
said
it.
that. A lot of people would just say, I hate, managing email and all that sort of thing. So
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know the first social media that ever existed? I believe was in 1972 or somewhere in there. It was email. Yeah,
In
Really?
72.
yeah. First email. I think it was 70. We're erasing
What
this.
device did they use to
This is
check that?
this is not going well real
Yeah.
fast.
we're fact checking you right now.
Yeah. Well, it had to have the internet, so that would have been what 84.
Yeah, I think it's the 80s,
85?
but I don't remember.
Al Gore
Yeah.
invented it in '85.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes, it
Might have
true?
been.
Yeah.
I think it might have
Okay.
been. Good one, James. Yeah, I think it was with a carrier pigeon in 1902.
All the facts.
All the facts. I'm gonna have to fact check myself
Uh-huh.
now. That went off the rails real quick. But no, I heard someone at a conference I was at in 2012 or so, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been on social media since 1984. We're going with 84.
Okay.
Since 90, and everybody, whoa, how's that possible?" He's like, "Yeah, haven't you had email since then?" So that's kind of
Trick.
Yeah, it's trick.
Yeah.
But the inbox is inspiring for sure. Yeah. Do you use Gmail?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I use the filters, so I have one that's promotions,
Uh-huh.
and that's usually where all of my my leadership stuff and all the things that I don't need to know, but I find out come to. Anyway, pretty exciting.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Alyssa, where's your leadership inspiration coming from?
My wonderful husband.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh.
So it
I
all-
should have said that one first.
It all comes from the inbox.
Uh-huh. Yeah, all the inbox. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
No, I mean, truly, I am inspired by him and his leadership and everything that he's done, but also just everyone around me. I feel like you can always learn something from anyone and everyone, and I feel like I've had a lot of inspiration throughout my life from different people for leadership, and it's always a work in progress, and it's a work in progress for me constantly, but I do find inspiration and motivation from people I think would be the best route, specifically you. But, yeah.
Wow, I
That's
love
awesome.
this.
That's going on my
Yeah.
CV.
Yeah, you should. I'll sign it.
Your awards and accolades.
Exactly. I'm the person of inspiration for my wife.
Right.
That's my new why.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, there you go.
I found it.
I think we should just. We
I
need
do
to-
like that,
everybody
though.
should own that. If you're married, that's the one.
Yep.
Well, guys, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for coming on our show. You guys are awesome guests and great inspiration for other people here in the Lilac City.
Yeah.
So, again, this has been another production of the Lilac City Leadership Podcast.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Hey, before we go, how can everyone find you on the internet?
Yes.
Best way possible.
LinkedIn or rolloffdf.com.
rolloffdf.com or LinkedIn. We love the LinkedIn.
Yes.
LinkedIn's the best. Okay, we'll see you around. Thanks for being with us. We'll catch you on the next episode.